We stand now, not on a battlefield, but above a ghost war, an invisible front that ran beneath the mud and the wire of the Western Front, where men worked in the dark to change the fate of the line without firing a shot.
That subterranean conflict began in earnest in 1914 and became institutionalized by 1915 when the British Army formed tunneling companies within the Royal Engineers, drawing on coal miners and quarrymen from Britain and across the Empire to bore below no man's land.
Imagine squeezing into a tunnel so low you cannot stand, the air heavy with damp and the metallic tang of disturbed earth, the only light coming from a single lamp. Men lay on their sides on timber boards, breathing through the stink of oil and sweat, listening as if their ears could reach the enemy.
Those men were specialists, miners used to working under pressure, but nothing in peacetime prepared them for the peculiar brutalities of underground warfare. Sudden rock bursts, flooding, tainted air from explosives, and the constant psychological strain of being so far beneath the surface of a world at war. The galleries were claustrophobic by design and circumstance. Some tunnels were barely 1.5 feet high. Some long approaches stretched for hundreds of meters. Timber props creaked like the ribs of some sleeping animal. Rats threaded along planks, and the wet clay clung to boot and skin. Sleep was often a few stolen minutes curled beside a shoring post. Ventilation became a technical obsession. Without fresh air and with the proliferation of explosives and lamp smoke, carbon monoxide could collect and kill. Sumps, hand-operated pumps, and wooden ventilation shafts, huffed into with bellows, kept oxygen moving. Yet even with those measures, the underground was a place where a single careless breath could be fatal. The diggers developed techniques that had nothing to do with rifles or bayonets. They learned to steal noise. They learned to listen. One method known as clay-kicking became nearly legendary, especially in Flanders, where a blue clay layer allowed quiet progress. Clay-kicking involved a miner lying on a plank, the back braced, and using a long, flat-bladed spade held between the knees. With one foot, he pushed the blade into the face, levering and shaving the clay in thin slices. The head remained low, the motion controlled. Works of art in the service of silence. It made less sound than a pick and avoided shattering vibrations that could be detected by enemy listeners. Close your eyes and picture the choreography. 2 or 3 men at the face, one clay kicker, one to clear the spoil, another to shore the roof. The spoil was packed into sacks or buckets and hauled back, sometimes along narrow tramways. Every scrape muffled, every breath a possible betrayal. And listening was warfare. Both sides bored shafts and placed men in listening posts, small chambers dug forward of the main gallery, where an ear could catch the faintest rhythm of pick on stone. Engineers used simple devices, stethoscopes placed against timber, lengths of gutta percha or metal laid on the ground, to amplify the subterranean soundscape. From these noises, skilled listeners could tell if the enemy was blasting or boring, how many men were working, and how close they were. Countermining was clinical and cat and mouse. A pick sounded here, a scrape there, and suddenly an opposing gallery intersected yours. Sometimes the officers ordered a camouflet, a small chamber filled with explosives designed to collapse the enemy tunnel without breaking the surface. Other times they cut in and fought hand-to-hand in the mud, using bayonets and improvised weapons in a world of blackout and void. Camouflage saved surface positions by deflecting the energy of an underground blast into the earth. They were precise, technical devices. Explosives placed to fracture and crush an enemy gallery, creating a void underground that swallowed air and men. A silent and terrible form of surgical demolition. Both sides used them with grim efficiency. The tunnelers were specialists in patience. They could spend weeks digging a gallery forward of their lines toward an enemy salient, threading underground for hundreds of meters, all in the cold light of a single lamp. Their objective might be a mining chamber placed beneath a key enemy position, and when set and charged, that chamber could be detonated to wreck the ground above.